I'm Lincoln, I'm the owner of Prepper Shop UK. I got into prepping about 5-6 years ago now. I think more people are realising they need to be prepared, and most of the population, they simply aren't. There's, like I said, there's Trump, there's Korea, there's Iran. So I think you know, within the next 5 years, something big will happen. So if we're talking end of the world, law and order's gone, there's no rules, it's dog eat dog, it's survival. You're looking at something you can defend yourself with. So the first thing people normally look at is crossbows, because they're virtually silent. So you're using it almost as you would with a gun, and you could hunt with it, you could defend yourself. The more novelty items, you've got your unbreakable baseball bats, so you could defend yourself, you could break down someone's door with it. And then you've got your swords as well for the Walking Dead fans to match. And we've got knives. The knives are obviously multi-purpose. Your standard, what you would use them for, is bushcraft and hunting and stuff. The knife needs the end world. You go for a K-bar. Issued to the US military, so you know they're good. You know they're designed for it. It's ideal, you can defend yourself with it, you could hunt, it's a tool, you can do it. You know, it's got endless capabilities, it's gonna last there. Bloody perfect sort of thing. We'll cut that one. Keep that one. The general perception is that preppers are nutters, full of conspiracy theories and, you know, these lonely solitude people that no one talks to and you don't want to go near, but it couldn't be far from the truth. They're generally normal people. Then preparing for the worst, it's not waiting for it to happen, they're not desperate for it to happen, it's just a backup plan. It's like buying life insurance. You never intend to use it, but it's there if you need it.
Okay, it's a bit untidy at the moment because I've been actually moving the stuff around. Different cutting utensils here, survival tin with a few bits and pieces. Simple punch bag. Keeps you fit. I was involved with martial arts when I was a teenager and I really enjoyed the challenge, the physical challenge. 20-litre jerry can to transport water. So we got shelter, water and food, and these are aspects of that principle. So depending on the situation, if I knew there was a bug out scenario where I had to support and work with more than 2-3 people, I would take this fishing bivvy. Okay, as a last resort, if my domestic home base was at threat or it was just unsafe for any reason to actually stay at home, then I'd go to a bug out location. I've chosen a waterway route because the waterways, you've got access to water that you can treat, you've got wildlife in a survival situation, you know, if you need to procure food for your quarry. So the location that I'd actually be using is a waterway where I'd actually be using the canoe to actually get to the bug out location. We've arrived at the put-in, which is a location on the river which is most appropriate for the sort of bug-out scenario that I'm going to be doing. Here I've got the inflatable canoe. This is actually my own design, which I got specifically made for the purpose of the activities that I do. Here in the kit bag is all the stuff related to canoe, the paddles, the flotation device, booster seat. And in a societal breakdown, or what you might class as an end-of-world scenario, where one would literally have to get out of Dodge, this will be the kit that will be appropriate for what I'd need to do. As far as my friends, family, associates, me sort of prepping and survivalists, they sort of thought of it as a bit over the top to start with. But since they've sort of maybe experienced things themselves and seen things that have happened, you know, with floods and that sort of thing, it's always that attitude, it's never going to happen to me. You know, I sort of practice it, but even just saying principle, the apocalypse, end of world scenario, was never going to exist. I'd be doing all this anyway, because I enjoy being out, I like being out in the outdoors, nature and that sort of thing. It's always sort of thinking ahead and having sort of just a few EDC, everyday carry, a petrol lighter, a fire steel, which will ignite tinder to start a fire, and a small torch. That's always on my person. What do I get from sort of this point where I'm loaded up and I'm ready to go? It's not excitement, it's not a gung-ho feeling, actually it's a sense of, in a weird way, for me personally, harmony. Because I'm out in an environment that I'm just as at home with as what I am being comfortable with my feet up. at home having a cup of tea, you know. Okay, in situations like this, I've said it before, but I've got to go now, chaps, because I've got to go and bug out big style. Now it's actually getting colder, I'm actually going to tog up and get a little bit more thermally clad, because if you get too cold, it affects your thinking, it affects your focus and also your physical ability. So I'm now going to just tog up, because obviously now I'm a bit more stationary. First thing to do, as always advisable, is just set up your shelter so you've got the protection. Also, I've got some tools in there as well. Saw, knife, spade for digging holes for the fire pit. I want to filter and boil some water and have a bit of a solar shower as well. So, you know, hygiene is important as well. Instant food bag, so I've got food here which could last me for 48 hours straight off. And then I've got a cache which is buried nearby, but I'd appreciate it if you didn't actually follow where I'm going to get it from, because before, when I've sort of made it public on certain locations of buried cache, they've been dug up and found by people. So what I'm going to do is now just go and find it and bring it back and show you what it consists of. So I just got this from a hidden away little location, and this one's got an overall collection of different things. The main thing is sort of societal breakdown, doing something like this, bugging out. Otherwise I would, you know, sort of want to stay based at home. Here you've got a survival bag, you could always use that, also use that if I need to get away quick. This waterproof, this is 8 foot long by 4 foot wide. I can sleep in that if I need to. Water filtering device, cable ties, always handy to fasten whatever you might need to fasten. A little survival kit in here, fishing kit, firelighter. I can put that in my pocket, go off, and it would go with my EDC stuff that I carry with me all the time. Little bit of hygiene, just some wet wipes, always good to have. Again, it sort of boosts the morale, cleaning yourself up. If you don't want to die, you've got to defend yourself. So you've got to defend yourself in the most economical and effective way if your life is on the line, and it could be a very quick case scenario that, you know, you could be killed. So I would have different sort of skills of making particular traps, making, you know, it sounds a bit sort of like pedantic and over the top, but my form of self-defense I'd rather it be private, because by the nature of self-defense, the more people that know about it, that know about your defenses, the easier it is for you to be victim. I mean, you know, even in normal society, if you want to call it normal society, you know, there's, was it 3% of the world's population can be designated as psychopaths, sociopaths. So, you know, in scenarios where there is, if you want to call it, you know, the end of world scenario, it's going to bring all the nutters out of the woodwork. The chances of actually surviving a nuclear attack, just a whole barrage of nuclear, just totally annihilating everything. Not many people are going to survive. My motto is never go up unless you're dead.